just charged it.
I did my pieces about like my journey through like the 5 years of university and different things that I was going through. So I wanted to do a little piece on this house sculpture on hoarding, but I wanted to juxtapose hoarding with something sugary sweet like cake, and that's why I have the cake there as well. And then me and my boyfriend are long distance, so I did like a little sculpture of each of us. And I was thinking I would give him the sculpture of me, and I would have the sculpture of him, so when we're apart, we're still together.
Guess I'll go. Mine is more of like a speech, I guess, about like kind of everything. It's a little bit longer, so bear with me. Hello everyone, I hope you're well today. And I'd like to start by first thanking you for coming to the show, which is called Metamorphosis. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to take a quick moment of silence to honor the lives of the transgender people whose lives have been lost this year. And thank you, appreciate that. I believe it is very important to take a moment to reflect on our lives and what we have and may take for granted. As someone who's in a place of privilege as a white transgender male, but also as someone who has been able to receive top surgery, I feel it is my personal duty to use my voice and the privilege I have to advocate for my community. With my art, I strive to start these painful and often uncomfortable but needed conversations, especially considering the political climate right now, even though human rights should never be about politics. If I may, I'd like to now address my fellow seniors. First, I'd like to address Susie. Susie, you have been a wonderful friend to me from the very first day I met you. I have always looked up to you immensely as an artist, and I am so honored that our work is being shown together like this. You do not give yourself nearly enough credit for how amazing your work is, so I hope in the future you are able to recognize your skill and give yourself the praise you deserve. I wish you all the luck in the world for your future, but I know deep down you won't need it and you'll be fine. I'm going to miss you, so we better keep in touch. Now I'd like to address Kristen. Where do I even start? You have to be one of the most creative, resourceful, kind, and down-to-earth people I have ever met. I am always in awe when I get the opportunity to watch your process and how you work. You are truly such a unique person, and your art shows that every time. I know you are nervous to go out into the world as a real adult, as if you aren't already one with how much you've gone through, but I can promise you that you'll be fine. I couldn't think of a better person to be an art teacher. Just as I said to Susie, I will miss you and we need to keep in touch. Now on to me. Yes, I took my meds this morning, don't worry. I want to take a moment for some self-reflection now. So Ashton, look at how far we've come. In the next 4 days, you're going to be getting your bachelor's degree. I remember when we didn't even think we'd live to get our high school diploma. Now look at us, nearly 26, over 7 years with the love of our life, the best support system someone could ever ask for, and more hope and excitement for the future than ever. Though the unknown is scary, we are so ready for what's to come, and we are never looking back. Thank you.
It's hard to follow up from that.
Sorry.
So to talk a little bit about my work, my stuff is on that wall, and right here, it has a lot to do with feminism and relationships and how a lot of my experiences are reflected in my art, and how I hope to reach people with it too, if they still have experiences like that. Sorry. They are wonderful. I love them so much. I'm so happy that I get to graduate with you too. It's amazing. I hope you guys enjoy the show. Yeah.
Does anybody have questions for these three artists? They're standing here, waiting for questions.
You could also approach us and ask about a particular piece if you're interested. We're more than happy to talk.
I would love to know how your process works, because I see everything in flat. You know, my son draws 3D. My daughter, I would love to know how your process is.
So I guess we'll start.
So I think of ideas and then I try to get as close to them as possible. So a lot of my paintings like these, especially those behind there, that's when I started working with collage and sewing into my canvases and breaking through them and trying to figure out how to break boundaries. I usually just start off with a sketch and then just keep going.
Like a paper sketch?
Yeah.
I worked with plaster, so I got like a piping cake set off Amazon, kit off Amazon, and like I frosted it like it was a cake with the plaster, but I mixed it with like acrylic paint. And this part's clay. The cake is actually foam, but then it's plaster on top of the foam, and then the cherries are plastic. And I sewed the dolls.
Like fondant? Like you started
Like
fondant?
like the stuff you would like spackle walls with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then the dolls in the back, I basically sewed the dolls, and then I sculpted the head in clay. And then the other piece is clay with I did a stain on top.
That's amazing.
So did you start with a drawing or just an idea in your head? Like, how did you get from nothing in front of you to, okay, here's my basic structure, that's
An idea. An idea.
so you just started squishing clay and then,
Yeah.
oh, here's,
Yeah.
that's kind of like a house.
Yeah. Well, I had the idea for the house, and then
But I guess you had an assignment, like, had to be whatever the assignment was.
Well, this wasn't. This was like completely. We got like full range of choice,
Oh, okay.
and the cake that was full choice.
I want it.
I thought that was
That
good.
cake, even if it's not healthy, like the rest.
Real cakes here to go with the theme.
Can you talk more about the juxtaposition in this piece, like, and why you chose to do that?
Yes. So basically, I wanted to speak about hoarding, like as like a mental health issue. So normally, like hoarding is just not associated with things that are like brightly colored and organized and everything. So I wanted to use like bright colors and like gems for the eyes, everything like glitzy and sweet and uplifting, like because I was like juxtaposing that with like the reality of living in one of those kinds of situations.
Is that to bring awareness to the situation, like, so it's like a little easier to look at, you know?
And also working through it for myself, I guess.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I just wondered, like, when I picture hoarding, I think of like the TV shows and the houses are filled top to bottom with stuff. This house looks beautiful, like a dot, like a perfect little house. It doesn't look like hoarding trash. But then you see the rats on top.
I think the rats like tell all. But like I like Melanie Martinez. I know Susie does, but she has a song it's Dollhouse, and one of the lines is I see things that nobody else sees. So I feel like the way she like tells a story is like she'll get like childlike things, and like she'll tell her stories like through that lens, but about like real adult issues.
And I guess I'll talk about my process for this piece. I am angry. I'm angry at the world for the things that are being done to my community and the people that I love, and me, because this affects me as well. It really, like the two of them have said, it kind of just started off as a concept. I originally had the idea to just do transgender people as the monsters that they would most likely be compared to. In this case, I did demons for trans women because they're often demonized, plague rats for non-binary people because they're often referred to as a plague, and then Frankenstein for transgender men because we're told we're mutilating our bodies. And that's all I had at first. And then my professor was like, you need to do more than that, like that might come off a certain kind of way. So I was like, okay, well, let me think about this a bit more. So then I had to figure out the other side of this, which is the representation of I'll just call them what they are, they're meant to be Republicans, the people who are currently trying to take my basic human rights away. Not a big fan of that. And I wanted for them to have the monstrous features, but not fully look like quote unquote monsters. Like I feel like they more look like they're in costumes, but that's what the concept was for. So I wanted them all to kind of have the features to give that message, like he is a wolf in sheep's clothing. have a spider lady who her appearance was inspired by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah. And then I have a gentleman who is part snake, so he's got snake scales on his head and he's got a little snake tongue. And I really just wanted to make it known how angry I am with this piece. I mean, this is definitely my most visceral and in-your-face piece that I've ever made. And I would not have done that before. I was definitely somebody who was like, oh, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to cause problems. And I'm like, no, I'm going to cause problems on purpose because it's fun. And if it does good for my community, then what more could I want? And I specifically wanted to give a way to honor and memorialize, sorry, I'm probably gonna start crying because I got emotional the last time I talked about this. I specifically wanted to honor the 12 transgender people who have been murdered this year already. And I did that by including small bits of their obituaries. And it was some sort of obituary. It was on the Human Rights Campaign's website. And then instead of including their entire portrait, because I might have gotten like copyright issues with that, I just did their eyes. And I feel like that is so much more impactful because, like they say, the eyes are the window into the soul. And I just, every time I look at their eyes, and I know none of these people, I've never met a single one of them, but my heart breaks because I look in their eyes and I say, what did they do to deserve this? I can't think of a single thing that they could have done to deserve the fate that they had given to them. And that's just like my big thing with this. I want to start conversations. I want things to change, and because I'm in a position of privilege, I'm going to use my privilege for good, and that's kind of my process with this, I guess. Thank you. Thanks.
Ashton, what would you say to people that have a hard time starting conversations about this, or how would you instruct people that you might really have, you know, a hard time speaking with, you know, about how would you instruct them to start a conversation when they don't know where to start?
I mean, it's definitely something that in certain situations, when it comes to like certain people having conversations, it might not be safe. So I would never encourage somebody who's not in a safe position to start those conversations. But somebody like me, I always start with like, you know, for me personally, the person that I was before I came out and figured out who I was so much different in the way of how depressed and self-destructive and just suicidal. I mean, that's like the biggest thing. I did not like myself. I did not want to live anymore. I did not feel like I belonged in this world. And then over time, as things have gotten better for me, especially coming into myself and my identity, I'm the happiest and most stable I've ever been in my life. But I would say, just, we're all human at the end of the day. I mean, it's especially what's going on with them trying to take HRT away from trans youth. When I think of that, I think of it just like I mean, I can even say this now, diabetic. I am a type 2 diabetic. Thankfully, I don't have to be on insulin, but that's taking away transgender youth's access to gender-affirming care is like taking away insulin from a diabetic person. You are going to end up killing them. And at the end of the day, if this does not affect, if it does not affect you and it's not hurting anybody, why do you care? Like, you should just let people live, let people be. You know, these kids deserve to grow up. They deserve to be able to be kids. They deserve to play sports. They deserve to have the life-saving medical care that has been scientifically proven and backed time and time again. You know, I would come at it with a lot of information, because that's a lot of the time they're like, oh, well, it's like a lot of misinformation is spread, and that's a really big problem right now the political world, but like I said, human rights should never be about politics.
Well said.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Questions, comments? The work is so fantastic and so thought out, and you can't minimize the amount of time these students have spent on their work. Like late in the studio, Kristen and I would go home, and she was still there at like 9 o'clock. Ashton, the same thing, he'd be sitting there still working. You work so quietly in your little space. We didn't even know you were there all the time. So they're remarkable students. So. Okay, thank you. Everybody, my art. I see that the students put the prices on it.